Hi, Efo. Welcome to your second lesson in social studies of this week. As you know from the first lesson, we are learning about geography at the moment, and we're focusing on the Americas. In your last lesson, you did an activity on using latitude, longitude, hemisphere, northern, southern pole, and all of these geographical terms to describe places in the Americas. And today we are going to focus a little bit more on climate zones of the Americas. Right, so here is the PowerPoint. As usual, please sit back, listen, make sure you pay attention, make sure that you understand the instructions. Right, weather and climate. These are two different words and they are very similar. However, they are different at the same time. They mean different things. All right, what is our objective for today? Our objective for today is describe the climates of different regions across the Americas. So what will I be able to do at the end of this class if I try my best? I will be able to describe how latitude influences the climate of an area. You already have an idea about this from previous social studies classes. I can explain the difference between climate and weather. And I can tell you about the climate and likely weather conditions of an area of the Americas. So depending on where a place lays in the Americas on the map, you will be able to tell what likely weather conditions or what the weather is there. Okay, perfect. Let's start. Weather or climate. What is the difference between weather and climate? Okay, what do you think? I'd like you to think about this for a while. Okay, this is a bit of analyzing, trying to, also remember what we learned about climate. What is climate and what would the weather be? Yeah, try to think about it. Okay, so basically, if we think about it, climate, okay, think about the 5 climate zones in the world, okay? So basically, climate is like a weather pattern over a really long period of time. For example, the UAE is in the tropical climate. That means all year long it will have dry weather, very hot, only very little rain, and so on. Okay, sometimes humid. Whereas the weather is what the air is like at a particular, like on a particular day, let's say. Okay, so let's say yesterday or last week it rained in the UAE, but today it's sunny. Okay, so basically the biggest difference between weather and climate is that the climate is something that is like a pattern that is like for a long last for a very long period of time, all the time actually, whereas weather is a very short time period, like the weather on the day or weather in the morning, weather in the evening, it may change. Okay, whereas the climate doesn't change for years. Okay, all right, now let's move on to the next slide. Okay, all right, so what are the features of different climate zones? What impact does a climate zone have on a place? Well, this is a bit of a link in here, trying to remember what we already know from the previous lessons or other lessons. I know that there are about 5 different climate zones. What are the features? We will talk about that. And what impact do they have on a place? This is something we've had many times. So you should by now know that a climate zone will influence the weather of a place. It will influence what plants grow there. It will influence what animals live there, what people grow, the housing. It will influence how people dress. Okay, many different things. All right, so the areas between Tropic of Cancer and the Arctic Circle, okay, and the Tropic of Capricorn and the Antarctic Circle contain the subtropics and temperate zones. Okay, so let's take a look at that. So basically, this area, okay, and then this area, okay, is the subtropics and temperate zone, okay. Changes in the length of day between summer and winter can make for big changes in summer and winter temperatures. Okay, so basically The subtropics, which are situated here and then here, the subtropics or the temperate zones have big differences of temperatures and daylight hours during the summer and winter. Okay, so the winters may be cold, summers may be pretty warm. Okay, summers have long days, winters have shorter days. All right, let's check the other one. The area between tropics of Cancer and Capricorn is known as the tropics. You know that already. There is more direct sunlight in the tropics, which means it is warmer than the more northerly or southerly areas. Nearer the poles, summers tend to be hot and winters warm. So guys, between this area in particular is called the tropics. Okay, so anything that lays in this area is the tropics. The weather here, we have a direct sunlight, as you can see the curve here, so it's very close to the sun. So it's most of the time it's very hot. Okay, so it has hot weather literally all year long. Okay, and humid in many places. You remember the tropics, we're talking about tropics. We talked about tropics in UAE social studies a lot. Okay, so hot weather, that's what you have to remember, and long daylight hours. All right, 3, what do we have here? At the equator, there is sunlight for 12 hours a day. Every day, there is a greater amount of direct sunlight, which means there is more energy received from the sun. So any place that lays on the equator in particular, okay, it has 12 hours of sunlight all year long. It's because this part of the earth is very close to the sun. All right, and areas within the Arctic and Antarctic Circle have at least one day of 24-hour sunlight, okay, and then one 24-hour darkness in winter. Nearer the poles, there can be very long days or nights, okay. The sun is very low, the energy from the sun tends to be weak. So guys, literally on the Arctic Circle, around the Arctic Circle or an Antarctic Circle, these are called polar regions, okay. If you remember, in the summer there is a 24-hour daylight, so actually the sun doesn't even go down at all. And in the winter, it's 24-hour darkness, so that the sun doesn't come up at all. These areas are remote from the sun in general, so the weather will be really cold around the Arctic and Antarctic circles. All right, cool. So as we said, these are the climate zones. So we have the tropics between Tropic of Cancer and Capricorn and the Arctic Antarctic Circle. Those are temperate zones and subtropics. And here around Arctic and Antarctic Circle, that's polar climate. So polar, temperate, subtropics, and then tropical. That's 5 climate zones. Okay. So they're saying 4 main climate zones because they usually take the temperate and subtropics together. However, if you count it, 1, 2, 3, 4. Oh no, it's 4. I'm sorry. It is 4 climate zones, not 5. 4 climate zones. So these zones are determined by latitude. As you know, here we have Tropic of Cancer. Here we have Arctic Circle. Here, Tropic of Capricorn, the Antarctic Circle. So how many climate zones? It's 4 main climate zones. If someone asks you, say number 4. All right, climate groups and types, okay? So in the year 1884, a climatologist, so that this is a scientist that focuses on climate zones, called Vladimir Koppen, first published his climate classification system. So he classified climates. This system was developed to describe different climates experienced by a country, place, or region in detail. It has been modified over the years to provide a comprehensive guide to climates around the world. So this Koppen system will show you a climate of every single place on planet Earth, okay? So this system, okay, on the map we saw 4 climate zones, but this system has 5 main climate groups, and each of these groups consists of a range of climate types. So we have groups, and then each groups will have types, okay? All right, climate zones, what is the difference between these terms? Climate zones are related to latitude, but okay, so in general, climate zones are determined by latitude, by where they lay on the globe, right? However, there are other factors such as ocean currents, winds, and land masses that also influence climate groups and types. So, guys, it's not just about where the place is. There are other things that may influence the climate of a place. All right. So I actually, for this lesson, we will provide you with the Köppen system and a map where you can actually look, and this will provide you with guidance on how to solve your task. Using this system, you will write down the climate type for each of the cities on the next slide, okay? You will look at the Köppen system information sheet, okay? It's all provided. So basically, find the climate type of these North and South American cities. Write them in your notebooks. Then you will be doing this in your notebook. Please write down the cities. The first city is done for you, okay, Barrow. So anyway, step number 1, write down the cities: Barrow, Churchill, Las Vegas, Havana, Buenos Aires, Rio de Janeiro, Santiago de Chile. These are the cities you will be looking for. Write them down in your notebook, okay? Then, what will you do? Okay? You will have to find them on the map, okay? So let's say Rio de Janeiro, okay? You will have to use Google Maps as well to help you out, or atlases. Let's say I will find that Rio de Janeiro is somewhere here, okay? Oh, let's just take a look at Barrow. So our first city was Barrow, okay, on our list. I'm not sure why this has disappeared. Barrow. So what do I need to do to find out? So first I find it on the map, okay? I open Google Maps, Atlas, and I know that Barrow lays here. Here is, okay, when I look at this, it's gray color. Guys, I attach this in the lesson resources on My Learning, so please just take a look at it, open it in detail, okay? Don't just look at it on the PowerPoint because it's too small on the PowerPoint. Just open it as a PDF file. All right, so it's gray. When I look at this color, it's this color, which is ET, okay? So now I will have to go, okay? What's ET? We have ET, okay, which is polar tundra. You will have to copy both words. E is for polar, T is for tundra. And then here on the bottom, it says ET, mild tundra climate. So you will have to copy both polar tundra and then mild tundra climate, just like I did here, okay? Polar tundra, and in the brackets, mild tundra climate. That's all you have to do. So on a Google Maps, you have to look up each city, and then you use these to guide you. You need to find the color. Please, guys, many of the colors are very similar, so just make sure that you get the color right and you get the code right. Also, write down the code. Do this in your notebook, take a picture, submit on ClassDojo, please. Right, which ACPs did we use in this activity? This is a little complicated activity, not complicated, but it's a little hard, but you have all the guidance you need. And yes, you did need to use complex and multi-step problem solving. You broke down this task into steps. What do I have to do? I have to search on the maps. I have to look at the PDF Köppen system map. I need to find the right color code. I need to look up the code and write down the names of climate types. And at the end, again, if you can't, that's fine. If you can, please print this out, reflect on your learning, because that's also important to just know where we are in general. And yeah, please don't forget to submit your activity. Good luck, and as I said, please open the PDFs attached for the Köppen system, okay, for the map and the codes. They are there. It's better quality. You can zoom in to see the colors properly. All right, looking forward to seeing your work. See you next week.